When I learned this in Sunday school, I was about 8 or 9. I used to think about how, like, all the animals, it was specific that all the animals had to be a girl and boy, and that's what my curiosity was as a kid. This lady is trying to explain to us in Sunday school, why does it have to be a girl and a boy? She says obviously so that they can give birth, have more and stuff like that. And then I'm thinking to myself, why can't you have 2 girls because they're gonna give birth? One thing that I love about Moses, I see myself in him. He's almost like a typical, like anybody. Almost like, because of the way he was like, he's like, yo, bro, like, yeah, and the way he was talking to God, like, yo, man, what? Mina, are you crazy? Talk to Pharaoh, are you out of your mind? Right? Okay. So Candace basically, just to sum up what she's trying to say is get over it, right? Which is, I understand, I get it. Like, black people get over it. There's no slavery money you're gonna get. There's no slavery compensation you're gonna get. Get over yourself. Get on with life. Work. You know. But boy, oh boy, she pushes the buttons, bro. She goes far as doing research to justify how not only black people were slaves. Everybody was a slave. One of your kids, you give them $100, and the other kid, you give them $10. And then they go to school, they come back to school, the other one who got $10 is angry. Like, but you get, and you like, everyone had money. I don't know why, as I've been watching, was the Bible recently on Netflix, you know?
As in Bible series or Bible movies?
Yeah, Bible series. Well, docu, it was a docu because the one about Moses is a documentary. It's not really a series. Well, it's a series docu. Yeah, but then there's acting and like, you know, documentary stuff.
It's like enactments.
Yeah.
By enactment, okay.
Yes, yeah. So I was watching about Moses yesterday.
Moses is the guy that opened the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Parts of the ocean.
Yeah, the him. Yeah, that's Moses. You know, you've been there. Yeah.
No, it's because one of the reasons I also know is because there was someone who created, I think it was a meme or a fact check. Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, this guy, okay, it was the ocean. He parted the ocean so people could walk. And apparently, like, it's like 1,500 kilometers from one side to the other side. And he was like, how could these people walk for this amount of days, for such this amount of length in such a short day period? It's like, it's impossible. You can't walk those many kilometers. You will have to take.
It's what? You're saying it's what? How many kilometers?
Something 1,500 or something like, I don't know.
Like 1,500 km.
Yeah, I can't remember how it was, but I knew it was like a huge amount of length, basically, to walk for like the days.
I mean, okay, but as far as the Bible is concerned, we know that there are always like flaws here and here, here and there in terms of how it's written. I mean, there's too many, buddy. Like, come on, dog.
Guys, I mean, I think one person had said the Bible is probably the greatest story ever written. It's like, because it will always be there. It's one of the greatest stories ever written, because whoever wrote that, man, you had the whole world believing these things happen when clearly it was written by a person.
I mean, but then but there is the things there are referring to people too, though, like John chapter what, so it's people.
Probably
it's not like
it was a circle of friends. Okay, we call this chapter you are gonna be this chapter.
No, these guys were not friends actually. Yeah, but different people are writing basically about their experience with God. I don't know. I find it very fascinating actually. I think one of the things that I was talking about with the one and only Tracy, with you know, I always tell you all the time.
When
Tracy, when we talk, we always can. Yeah, I think Tracy is my religious guru. That's the only person I always talk about in terms of religious things. It's in the story of Noah, you know, something that I feel like I don't know. I never thought about it maybe fully. I mean, I've had like some thought, but you know, like for an example, so God basically sent this, like, you know, what you call that God sent it, like water basically, say, I don't know, floods and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
flood.
So God sends this flood and told Noah that he must build an ark, right? And only the people who were in the ark will survive, and the animals that were in the ark, right? But then I never thought of actually thinking about the people in the ark as to say, like, okay, from these people in the ark, and then how did we get here? Like, you said to now. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Like, specifically on the people who were there left in the ark. I was damn actually until I watched this movie that I watched recently about Noah. That's why I started thinking about it. So in Noah's perspective, God wanted to get rid of humanity on earth, to cleanse earth of humanity, so that earth can be as natural and beautiful without human beings. Because human beings basically were like spoiling the earth, So yeah, so that is the perspective in Noah's thingy, basically story, which I never thought about. So the people that were left in the ark were Noah and his 3 sons, and the 3 sons, the older son, the middle son, and then the younger son was the smallest, and then there was Noah, and then his woman, Noah's wife, and then his older son had a girlfriend, a girl that they had saved, the family had saved, So but then the girl couldn't give birth. The girlfriend couldn't give birth,
Alright.
So you have these people like that, and the girl can't give birth. It's like, so how are we gonna go forward from that? Like, so what are we gonna do? How are we gonna have other human beings from that? So then what happens is Noah then explains to his family what's gonna happen. He says, who so and so will die, and so will die, and the last person that will be the last man remaining on planet Earth ever is gonna be you, talking to his little son, to his younger son basically, saying your brothers are gonna die, your brother's wife and who would die, you are gonna be the last man on earth, and you're gonna bury all of us, and you'll be the last person to die without someone to bury you. I'm like, and he says this is God's plan to cleanse the earth of humanity, which is something I wasn't even, for some reason I wasn't thinking like that, because I remember all the time on the story, because I was very young actually when I learned this in Sunday school. I was about 8 or 9. I used to think about how, like, all the animals, it was specific that all the animals had to be a girl and boy, and that's what my curiosity was as a kid. This is where it's like, why? Like, but at this time I don't really understand sex like that. Yeah. So this lady is trying to explain to us in Sunday school, why does it have to be a girl and a boy? And then she says, obviously, so that they can give birth, have more and stuff like that. And then I'm thinking to myself, why can't you have 2 girls, because they're gonna give birth? I don't know. It's
a young mind.
Yeah.
You're still innocent. It's okay.
Yeah, so I used to think about that. But then now, obviously, as an older person watching this thing again backwards, I'm looking at the idea of humanity in this case. Like, how were they supposed to progress? Anyway, the girlfriend who couldn't give birth ended up giving birth, getting pregnant, and giving birth to twin girls, actually. But then still, I wonder then, how did we move from there?
Questionable.
Yeah, I don't know.
Basically, in a sense, there's a whole lot of
so those are so many. Those are the things that I feel like the Bible always lack. Because if you think about it like that, if that's what happened, then so.
No, man.
What happened?
As you have said, there are a lot of things that are questionable in terms of the tales that are in there, the narratives that happen in there. But some people take them at face value, and others, people who are scrutinizing everything that's happening, they'll be like, what's this one? So we are in between in terms of those who believe and those who technically don't. Yeah,
but for some reason, I feel like I just appreciate those stories. The only one though that I told myself I'm not gonna watch. Maybe I'm gonna watch again now. But in university, I was like, I'm not gonna watch this again. Was The Passion of Christ, because it broke my heart, bruh.
Which one? Mel Gibson
broke my fucking heart. I hated that movie, bruh. Mel Gibson's one, Passion of Christ. Passion of Christ broke my heart. It's Passion of Christ, right?
Yeah, it remains.
It broke my heart, bruh.
One of Mel's good works. Well,
yeah, I don't know. Mel Gibson, I need to find things that he directed, because I feel like everything that I've watched that he directed, it's fire. From Apollo, you know, it's still my favorite movie, actually up there in my top 5, in the Apocalypto, and then the Passion of Christ, and also Passion of Christ too. Do you see? So all my top 5 movies are always, because Passion of Christ is always like there in my top 10 something. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's I found it very interesting actually. It's very hard because, you know, when I look at the things that happen there, and I think one thing that I love about Moses, I see myself in him. He's almost like a typical, like anybody, like any person right now. Like he's almost like, because of the way he was like, he's like, yo, bro, like, yeah, and the way he was talking to God, like, yo, man, what? Mina, are you crazy? Talk to Pharaoh, are you out of your mind? This guy's gonna kill me. This guy's gonna, like, get rid of me as soon as he see me. Like, well, bro, it's not gonna, you know, the way he is, you know? And also how, when, you know, how God would do things, like, for example, you know how sometimes, okay, the way they justify the day is like, no, it's like, so the things that you go through, basically, is God making sure that you are ready for whatever that He's preparing for you. He's not gonna give you something until you are ready. So these guys, the Israelis, basically were trying to get to the promised land, and getting to the promised land should have taken them 10 days, but they ended up taking 40 years because God didn't feel like they are ready to be in the promised land. So that's why they ended up taking so long. And Moses, the guy who fought for this thing for so long, didn't make it to the promised land, by the way, which was heartbreaking. But his kids made it, obviously. But the God told him that he's not gonna make it to the promised land.
Jeez.
Yeah. I found that very interesting too, actually.
I feel like it's just, you know, if I'm looking at it in terms of the hero's quest, writing, it's a typical storyline where the hero is just being called into action and into
do things, and
then it gets to the end.
Yeah.
Well written, really. These stories, they're all well written, man. Like you can. That's why people actually end up getting so into them and believing them so much because of how well written they are. They can see themselves, as you are saying, as the person who's experiencing all of this.
Yeah, no, the first time I saw myself so much, because how I would be like, for an example, as you know, my infamous line, you know, if you got my infamous line, you know. So yeah, so that's why I saw myself so much into. Anyway, buddy, today we have to talk about it, bro. The elephants in the room that I need to address. Who's the elephants in the room today? And this, you know, I realize how much, like I would say, it's like, you know, as you know, I've introduced you to Candace Owens. You never even knew Candace Owens or cared about her or what's not, right? Until I started saying all these things so much every day about her. Yo, this lady's crazy. Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, this, you know. I thought, okay, you know, it's to me at least, you know, after like watching so much of Candace Owens, it's like she's trying to do the right thing. I would feel, or it's what maybe someone will say tough love, you know. It's just that's the problem. Then this becomes mostly for me with her and the tough love towards like black people generally. It's almost like it makes me ask like, okay, fine, tough, but where's the love? Do you see? Right. Yeah. So that's my issue. I think
one side.
Yeah. Because then that's my issue. I think it's like it's almost like everything black to her it has something wrong. I think that's where my issue started. Like it's like I see what she's trying to do. It's almost like a person who's gonna try to push. You know, she's trying to push the black community so hard, but then I only see the tough. I don't see the love. You know, yeah, that's how I feel like about her. Cause at some point you know how mad I used to be about her to the point where I didn't even want to. When I see her video, I'm like, fuck, let me block. I don't want to see anything Candace. You know, because so. But then also for the right reasons. I mean, some things that she said, like, that's just off pocket, bro. Like, it's just off the pocket, dog. It's like, it's just, nah. You know, it's like, nah. Bruh, like, no matter what you're trying to, like, push, like, to try maybe, like, to be tough to black people or support, whatever you're trying to do, nah. It's just out of pocket, dog. You know, You know, so there is those things that I want to address today. That's what I want to talk about. So Candace Owens, the first person I want to talk about, and then my favorite again. I feel like talking about people that are alive. Actually, Elon Musk. That's another person. Like that's another elephant in the room. I need to address me. Not only on the story of John Lennon and the things that's currently happening, right? But just fully
Just
like
him as a-
just him and like how I like sort of. Obviously, like I mean, he's like one of the coolest billionaires, I would say. You know, he's so cool, and the things that he's trying to do. You know, okay, I mean, it's Elon Musk, bro. Come on, what do you think?
Yeah.
But then there are these things. I'm not sure, man. I'm like
questionable things.
Yeah, questionable things. You know, for me, you know, same thing as Candace. But they're starting with Candace. So I'll ask you to check out Candace. What did you get when I'm on playing out with Candace Owens?
No, man, I think the information that I was getting is the same information that you had told me in terms of, you know, she's got all this information and probably, you know, I think probably well-researched information that she has.
Yeah.
But some of it almost seems like the narrative of that information gets changed or altered to fit.
It's a narrative.
To fit the
Yeah, that's the thing. Do you see? Yeah, she has, and she's this. I think one of the things that's made me so mad at her is because she's obviously intelligent. That's one thing. She's obviously smart. That's the one thing, right? And then how she would manipulate the truth to suit the narrative, bruh. Dog. Okay, let's just start at the biggest one. The biggest issue that I had for me with her is how far she would go, like with slavery. You know, and this appears also with Elon Musk, which I'm gonna touch too when it comes to him. Okay. But the idea of slavery, right? Okay. So Candace basically, just to sum up what she's trying to say is get over it, right? Which is, I understand, I get it. Like black people get over it. There's no slavery money you're gonna get. There's no slavery compensation you're gonna get. Get over yourself. Get on with life. Work. You know, that's like the point that she's trying to make. But boy, oh boy, she pushes the buttons, bro. She goes far as doing research to justify how not only black people were slaves, everybody was a slave. And this also, I'm joining now the point because I think this point is connected to Elon Musk saying everyone was a slave on Elon.
Yeah.
I had a big problem with that. You know, I feel like that's such a cop out and so disingenuous. Right? For me, that's how I feel about it. Why though? Why am I saying this? So, buddy, fine. Everybody was a slave, right? And slavery was happening everywhere before even white people were enslaving Africans, taking them to Europe and stuff. In the conquest, basically, this during the times where basically people were just going around stealing land, and during those times conquering lands. You know, during those times, you know. There was a time, basically, which is like between the 1500s, 1600s, you know, going to the 1700s, where like African countries such as Egypt were more stronger. They had power over Europe. Right. They were the ones. Yes, and also we had slavery in Africa of Africans to other Africans. I mean, if you think about it, buddy, we all know that the history of Africa is like we had kings and queens and stuff like that. And monarchies, yes. We know that we have monarchies in the history. By virtue, having a monarchy, you saw the thing that I sent you, it's because I was running and I was thinking that having a monarchy or having a king, by virtue, it means someone has to be inferior. Do you see? That's what I was sending you. By virtue, it means someone has to be, what word did I use? I said, I use a word, I said subordinates or something like that.
I can just look it up right now.
Yeah, you know, because I was thinking about that when I was running, right? So
for someone to be a king, someone else has to be inferior and a subordinate.
Yeah, that's what. So it's like someone else has to be lesser off for someone else to be a king. In this case, if you are talking about societies, this means you have a society that is lesser off, and because a society doesn't choose. Someone is a king. You know, there's no going to vote for them. There's no I disagree with the king. No. Right? That already, by virtue, the setup already says, of course, there was some sort of maybe slaveries too within African continent, right? Now, this is their base of their argument. Basically, everyone was a slave, right? Now, this is me. That's argument that they're making there. This is my problem. Starts there. It's almost like saying JC. It's almost like saying JC. Maybe for an example, you give your kids money in the morning to go to school, and then you give one of your kids, you give them $100, and the other kid you give them $10. And then they go to school, they come back to school, the other one who got $10 is angry. Like, but you get, and you like, everyone had money. That's how it's like. It's almost like that, bro. It's like, when the kid comes back and complains, but why did you give her maybe $100 and you give me only $10? And then you're like, but everyone had money. Like, you had money too, she had money. No, it's not the same, right? This is not the same thing, right? One, how is it not the same? The scale in which black people were enslaved is not equivalent to any. The scale in which Africa was enslaved is not equivalent to any group, right? So it's disingenuous to use that, right? Because the scale also in the African context or in the within the black community, it's also so long. I mean, bro, think about it. Like, because if you think about things such as apartheid ending in only in 1994, these are all like the last bits of the same history. Do you see?
Yeah.
So then the scale is not the same, right? I mean, someone in 2023 didn't get a bank loan because they're black, and the banker said no. You know, so the impact is very long and it's
Still
prolonged. It's in the system. So to just dismiss it and say that is so disingenuous. That's my issue with that. To say everyone was a slave, or for Candace Owens to go back and do a docu to prove that a docu about slavery and then justify it and say, see, everyone was a slave everywhere. No, that's just disingenuous to me. The scale is not the same. For an example, we do not have a history. Even when Africa, as I was saying, Africa was at some point was stronger than Europe. We do not have a history of Africans significantly in big numbers, for an example, enslaving Europeans. We do not have that history.
Yeah.
There is no history of millions of Europeans being killed by Africans. None whatsoever. Meanwhile, in South Africa right now, Blood River at KZN, we passed there when we were going to Fryhead. We have guns still. We have the big thingy. You know, the thing that they put the bomb, what you call them? Yeah, the cannons, the old cannons, though, the old one. They are there in South Africa. Now, so it's not the same thing, you know. We don't have a history of oppressing Europeans anyway, right? We do not have that history, right? But on the other side, Africans were systematically basically oppressed and enslaved for years and years. I mean, they say 400 years, right? Of slavery, you know. And and then there are people such as her and Kanye West justifying those type of shit. I think it's so stupid to do that, right? Why do I think it's so stupid? It's like, JC, there are so many things that black people are doing wrong. We don't have to use to justify something that was done to them, that was wrong, to justify why they should be better. No, you should blame black people for the things they are actually doing wrong themselves, right? If a black person says to you, this isn't what I feel, if a black person says to you, we are here because of slavery or the history of slavery, there's no argument you can have that would justify that, because we are, right? Because right now we don't know how Africa was going to develop into until someone came in and interrupted their developments, right? We don't know what was the future of Africa. We don't know until someone interrupted, so we will never know, right? So do you see? So then to come now to justify that, like, it's just pointless. What's the point? Why can't you criticize Africans for the actual things they're doing wrong? Or black people rather, even, you know, I'm just talking about black people in general. There are things that we're doing wrong as like culturally. For an example, someone might argue how we have the culture of hip-hop, which advocates for murders, advocates for nakedness of women, advocates for gangsterism. You know, we had a problem of that, for example, recently in Mzansi. You remember I told you in South Africa, in Newcastle, in my city, where all of a sudden we have a huge problem of gangsterism, and it's all connected. There's those connections in our culture. Within our culture, there's so many things that are wrong that we need to fix, and it's enough to criticize and blame Africans or black people on that. The actual they're doing wrong. You can't justify slavery, bro. You cannot. Bruh, the estimations of just people that were being taken to Europe and to America during the slave trades, you know, we're talking almost 20 million people. 20 million people. That's were actually just being shipped, and then the scale is like.
That's a huge number.
That's a huge, but then the scale. This is a scale that people are estimating. In terms of the people that were able to live and work in America and Europe.
There are ones who also
there are ones who died.
Right.
Also, there are ones. You remember during the slave era, these people were not just taking people to Europe, they were also settling in Africa. The number of people they murdered, the number of people, the numbers, you can search these numbers, by the way, people, you can, that we're going to 50 million in terms of impact of number of people that were killed. Like, I mean, you're talking about in Congo alone, Belgians killed almost 5 million people. Like, nobody talks about those things, and somebody's gonna sit there and justify
and say
this. That's so disingenuous to me. That's, because these people made money actually with that thing, and they were able to be way, way ahead using that thing.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no need to justify that. For me, that's the issue that I had with Candace Owens, going through to justify that. I watched the whole thing, bro. I sat down and watched the whole thing. Like, trying to get like where she's going with this, And you can tell, even in her narration and how she tells the background, the story of slavery, is that she already holds a certain like, I don't want to say position. It's like she has there's a word I'm looking for, but it's like an agenda. She has a certain agenda already that she wants to achieve. She's like, I'm gonna tell this story, but I'm gonna tell it in a particular way so that I achieve this particular agenda. Do you see that?
Alright.
Yeah, so that's my issue with her. Like, for an example, I told you when she talks about actually the first countries to stop slavery. She mentions like I forgot which country. I think England or something. European countries, though. But then not talking about Haiti and Iraq and India and what they did. Not talking about that. And Haiti being the first country actually to officially try to end slavery, to abolish slavery from their law, making slavery unlawful. That was Haiti, for an example. But then she attributes these things to these European countries. Like, she goes way too far to try to justify it, which I do not understand. Why do you have to do that? Because you can still criticize black people on just the things they're doing wrong themselves. Yeah, what do you think, man?
No, man, I'm just, in a collection of all these things, trying to wonder. Because most of the things I left them up to you in terms of what you have to say, because I understand your frustration and everything that happens. To try to get the base of it, like, why is she even doing it this way? What's her history in terms of the ideas that these ideas are coming from? Is it a background thing, or maybe her experience in life? What makes her see the world the way she sees it?
Okay. So basically, for me, from what she says, is that she's trying to get, as I said, it's like tough love type of thing, trying to be real to black people, tell you things as they are, that's what she claims, at least. But she's definitely playing for the other team, it was like that. That's how it seemed like, right? On the surface, to me, because at first, to me, she shocked me at first. Like, I've never seen a black person seeming to have almost like self-hate so much and the passion. But then as I hear her, she's trying to, how she justifies it is that basically she's, she loves black people, she wants them to see black people doing better, that's what she claims to. So it's sort of like trying to be real with them and stuff. But then she has these holes that she leaves out when she tries to do that. Let me, another example, actually, I'm just giving you flash of where. So that was a slavery issue that I saw on her, which I think it's out of pocket and it's unnecessary too, because you cannot justify it. Because when a black person, again, as
it's
I said,
something that
it's just no ways you can justify it. I can't kill your parents, JC, and be like, and justify how your life is better and how you could do better with yourself and whatnot. Because then with your parents you could have been maybe even way better. So there's no justifying it. It's no justifying it. Cool. Now, going further on her, when George Floyd died, because this is where I got introduced more with Dave Chappelle. Remember when we watched the segment of Dave Chappelle, and he touched on Candace Owens, and then after him, and then I started wanting to sing even more of Candace, because I was aware of her, and I've seen some glimpses of things that she does, right? So now I'm like, let me follow this. I want to see actually now what she said regarding George Floyd, right? Okay, one of the things she was criticizing is the idea that who is George Floyd? Let's not talk about George Floyd like he was a good guy, right? George Floyd was a druggie, he was a junkie, he's been to jail this many times, he was this, he did this to his neighbor, those type of things, right? Bruh, my man, this was never about George Floyd to me. Even if you ask a person, for example, a reasonable black person will tell you, the whole Black Lives Matter thing, to be honest, it was not because of the one incident of George Floyd. It just happened that he was a trigger at the time. Like, that's all he was, bro. True. It was never about him. It was about a series of events that spilled up to that event. I mean, black people were being shot by the police on traffic stops. Like, random ass traffic stops.
Which still,
you have with kids at the back, a family man with a kid and a wife at they were dying left and right. That was the issue. This was never about George Floyd, right? So she goes on to say he was this, he was a junkie with this and this and this, all the things that are wrong with it. So why him? Why would you choose? Nobody chose this guy. Nobody chose this guy, This guy happened to be the guy that sets off the fire. That's the only thing, right? Nobody says he was a saint. Nobody's arguing that. He just happened to be the guy that people had enough with, like, okay, we've had this, it's enough. Okay, but then let's try to see from her perspective. So if he was that, so then now police have to kill people like that? Like, I don't know, how does it work? Like,
one and one don't make two, man.
Yeah, but so what are you saying exactly? Like, are you saying because he was a junkie, so he should have been killed like that, and we shouldn't worry that police are killing people like that? I don't get what is an argument exactly? Like, literally, because the argument is this person, basically George Floyd's character. That's what she attacked, right?
Yeah.
Is this the person we want to say our kids should be like, type of vibe? Is this the person is this our hero? Is this our hero?
This is why I'm saying, I guess she's got an ability to change things to fit what she wants to basically say.
The media wants you to cry about George Floyd and this guy. They're not showing the whole thing where he resisting, what's not. That's not the issue. Is why does it seem like all the time when police officers, especially in this case, white police officers are supposed to be dealing with a black person, the black person has to end up being dead all the time, and the repetition of that. And this was the point. This was the point. This was not about the guy did the crime or not. No, the point was why all the time when police officers seem to be dealing with black people have to end up dead all the time.
It's what's weird? This thing that you're bringing up is because it almost seems like the thing that happens is this idea of, I think they're always using it as an escape of white people not knowing the differences between black people. Because as you are saying this, I saw a video right now where a policeman was stopping a black guy, and he was like, the first thing he says, please stop, you fit the description of a guy we're looking for. The guy is jogging, he's sweating, he's got a phone, he's like, this is my idea, that's my house right there, like a couple of blocks away. I'm trying to just jog. But they say, no, you fit the description. The description is, it's a black man who's got a beard.
Wearing a white
top. The dude is like, oh my god. And then
has to stop.
So I think it's the base is just that always that like. So the problem is I've never seen them stop a white guy saying you fit the description of a white man we're looking for. He's actually a white guy wearing a t-shirt.
It's hardly like that, right? It's hardly like that, right? So and that was the issue, right? Now as to George Floyd, did he belong to jail? Of course he did. As for his character, we don't know that was not the point, So I just got confused. So I see, for example, for things like that, it's like, what you trying to achieve, right? But then it's different. Imagine, JC, okay, let's say if I have an interest of trying to, like stop or like change or criticize and challenge black people. Right? Why can't I go to the actual things they do wrong? As you were saying, like gangs and stuff like that. Like, what if you say, because at the end of the day, of course, if you fuck up and be in gangs, you're gonna get fucked, bro. That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna be in jail. You are going to stand it. Most likely you will die too, like that. You know. True. You can literally still say anything you want to say in terms of with the things they're actually doing wrong. Do you see in that case? The things they are actually doing wrong, not things that they are not doing wrong and use that to blame them. I just do not understand. Like that for me. This is where I've been sitting like, but. Oh my God, I love Candace Owens. Does she have to hate black people? I don't know, bro. I love her so much. I love these women, bro. I love these women. I told you so many times how much I adore her and love her. It's like, can you imagine your superhero being evil all the time? It's like, yo, boy. How do you even defend that? I don't know, bro. I do not know. You go to social media, you try to comment something positive, you see everybody is like, what would I say to support Candace? Because you keep throwing everything under the bus. It's like, why would you say that? It's almost like, did you think everything through? I don't know. It's like, because everything that she's saying has big holes, not even small holes. It's big holes, Because for an example, even going back to touch base on the slavery thing, right? It's not necessarily wrong to say black people need to get over the slavery shit. Because what you gonna do, JC? Are you telling me that you are waiting for your oppressor to then come around, relieve you of the oppression? Yeah. The same people that enslaved you, are you expecting that? Oh, that same system basically. They're like, oh, we enslaved these people. Oh, here are your reparations. That's what you're waiting for? Because you're stupid if you're waiting for that. You are dumb, There's nothing wrong telling black people that. No, get over your shit. You're dumb, bruh. If you're thinking there's some savior that's coming to change situation, you're stupid. But then it doesn't mean then I have to go and defend actual slavery to justify that. Do you see? There's two different things here. I can't, it's like if someone is sitting around and still saying this and this and this without necessarily organizing and creating systems in place to help change the situation, then they're stupid. There's no need. What the hell? There's no need. If you want to criticize black people like that, that's one thing, because you can still say that, something like that. For example, black people need to stop waiting for this and this and government that, start doing things yourself, your culture, start improving that. There's nothing wrong about doing that. That's what you should be doing. But then you can't criticize these things that literally are being systems in place to actually put black people down. Because the police killing black people so many times, bro. Come on. Even if you're so stupid, bro, come on, bro. They don't do the same thing to everybody, dog. Where is the proof? Because it's like, why is it all the time a black person has to be like that? Because if you think about it, white people in America had a problem with crack, but we didn't have the police doing the same thing to them. We don't see that. Right? Right? We have a pandemic with the white people.
Rather they were trying to help them rather
they tried to help them actually, right? And they were justifying actually you remember something that Dave was raising actually, how when all of a sudden these white people who were addicted to drugs being cracked, all of a sudden these people are sick, this justification.
It's always like that.
It's always like this.
When it comes to mass shootings. There's always some defense.
Some defense that's gonna come, right? They're not gonna be called terrorists, for an example. But then can you have a foreigner from Middle East shooting up crowds? Let's see if it's connected to terrorism, right? That's how it works. Do you see? So this is almost the same pattern. It's like, if you find a black person doing something wrong, right? Do the right thing, treat them like a human while you do the right thing. Follow the law, arrest them rightfully, Of course, guys, as pig, we're not saying they don't fight, they do all those type of things, but do the same thing that you do with for example, a white person being on drugs and not wanting to go to jail. Do the same thing, take them to jail, do what you have to do. Why is it all the time when you're dealing with them, you have to kill them? All the time it ends up with them being dead. But then with the same circumstance, with another race, it's different, finding. That's the only, it's such an obvious issue, right? So I don't understand also, again, when Candace would try to defend something like that. I just don't get the defense here. Because it's been, take out George Floyd then. How many black people have to die before you say, okay, there's a problem in the system? How many? Do you see? So that's another strike, by the way.
Yeah.
But this is another strike on her. This was slavery thing, and then the George Floyd thing. That's another strike. Okay. Then there's another video of her. Now, which I also found interesting. This one was with Meek Mill, right? So Candace thought obviously Meek Mill deserved to go to jail. Remember when Meek Mill was being arrested for violating probation, right? Because this was his fourth violation. I'm not familiar with all the other three violations before the fourth violation. I'm only familiar with the fourth violation when he was actually taken to jail and Jay-Z sending lawyers and supporting him and stuff like that to get him out of jail, right? Of course, as usual, Candace Owens was on the other side, right? Cool, right? Now, let's try to deal with it, like with the information that we have around Meek Mill going to jail, for an example. How did it get to this point, for an example, right? Okay. Meek was basically Meek in this case was going to prison. He was going to prison for popping a wheelie, right?
On his
he did a pop.
motorcycle. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, in a motorcycle. Yeah, I don't know if you know that, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what. But then this was a strike on his probation, right? Apparently, right? Now, because it's his fourth strike, and then he had to go to jail. Obviously, now there's a sentence that he's facing. I know it's something around 5 years that was being spoken about, or even more, But it's those type of things, right? Cool, right? And obviously, black people are uphold, free Meek Mill. You remember the movement?
Yeah, I remember that.
Everyone, Jay-Z gets on it. All the black celebrities, free him and stuff like that. And Candace is on the other side, right? She's making some reasonable points, for an example, such as, okay, guys, we have this person is breaking the law, by the way. Let's not forget that, right? This person, he did not just violate probation once, not twice, not 3 times, but the 4th time, right? Okay, and this person should, because he broke the law, he should go to prison, right? If we are working with the law, right? Cool. Now, that's her basically. Why are we even behind him? These rappers, when would they land? Type of vibe. She's in that type of vibe. Okay, cool. I think that's a fair thingy, right? In that note, how she's putting it. Okay, now, because it is all I find interesting in America. It's always okay, and the law is always right when it's only like black people, rappers, whatever, who are being taken advantage of through the law. Like the law is always fine, it's always the black people who are wrong. Until it's like white people who are in the wrong. Now it's like, what? For doing that 5 years? Do you see? Now, on the January 6th matter, which is fast forward later, right? What? These people walked into the Capitol like breaking a chair. 10 years! Are you crazy? Do you see?
But it's the law.
You
went into
Exactly. You went into a government building that you're not even supposed to do this. Now they bring in like this burglary. There is like what you call, is it breaking and entering and what?
Yeah.
There is and then the destroying of property and private. Then there's all these things. Now you have 10 years, and then all of a sudden people are like, what? What? But that's what people have been saying. There's something wrong with the law, right? But then people only start to change or evaluate things when it's affecting other people, right? Because if you think about it, you're gonna take a man who hires so many people, a man who's obviously proven to be different in society, for popping a wheelie and give him 5 years, 10 years in prison, a millionaire. And is that that's the worst man you could find in society. For popping, because if you look at it for popping a wheelie, you are taking him to jail. Because that's what it ends up being, right? That he just popped a wheelie. Now that's what he's going to prison for. Is that what you're gonna do? Do you see?
Damn.
So there are so many incidences though of things like that. Then, for example, Hans McMill was saying when he came out and trying to do the prison reform and what's not thing, right? There's so many people like that, but they don't have that kind of money and support. The system, in a way, basically, the system, in a way, the way it is like it's structured to keep some people there, right? And that's also his argument. That's also the argument that they are making, right? But then, for some reason, they never listen or follow any arguments until it's their favorites. Even right now, only people now are complaining about the judge and the system in is it Iowa where Donald Trump is being prosecuted and what's not, right? Only now, because it's Donald Trump, only now it's like, we've been telling you about the judge. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? It's like all the time. Yeah, we've been saying this, but they never listen. Do you see? But then only then when it's them, then all of a sudden, what? It's the same thing that's back in the days. You remember those parents too who were on the news in the US for paying briberies to the institutions, the higher institutions like Harvard to admit their kids, right? Yeah. And then when they start to getting in terms of how much time they're gonna spend in jail, what? You can't take, oh my God, you can't take just a family that you're breaking families apart. It's like, we've been saying this, for doing that 10 years, but they didn't kill anybody. They're good. That's what we've been trying to tell you.
But you were not listening.
And you were not listening. Do you see? That's the thing. So that's on the McNeil issue, right? Again, do you see? She's always on the other side, right? For an example, do you see? Now, to me, there's starting to be a pattern now of why is she always like on this side? Because because in this issue too of McMill and rappers and whatnot, there's actually so many things you can criticize them for. The things that they're actually doing wrong. I think that's my issue. It's almost like she doesn't target the things that we are, maybe partly, but I feel like she doesn't focus on the things that we should be held responsible for, like for example, as the black community. In this case, the actual things we're doing wrong. Like, for example, how rappers advocate for violence, how they are, the culture in that sense, rather than basically using, as I'm saying, like, things that are wrong in the system and still wanting to blame it on them. I don't understand what is that for. Like, I do not get it. Like, I don't get it. So when I try to follow her, yeah, it's in that for me, And I kept saying to you, it's like, yo, Candace Owens and the crew that she seems to be representing, which is predominantly like white rich male and stuff like that she seems to be vibing with. Oh, one day they're gonna prove to you you're not part of the crew, and they fired her. It's coming. I've been saying this to you long time ago. I said one day she's gonna say things they do not agree with, the crew do not agree with, and you will see that day that you were always black, you will never be white to them. I told you. Do you remember, JC, when I said that? I said this so many times that one day these people are gonna let her go,
and then it happened.
Cross path with Dave Shapiro. Out. Ben, sorry, not Dave. Ben. And then what did they do?
They let her go.
You are not white, bro. You are not part of the crew, bro. Like, that's what they did to her. And I've been saying that, and I said that.
No, I remember because you were even making incidences or basically scenarios like, because at the end of the day, what if someday, God forbid, a white policeman stops her for having done something wrong
and not know it's her, and not know her name, not know the celebrity,
and just know the skin,
and not just see the skin. One day, do you see? Oh, her kids, because the kids are mixed, right? And well, that's another thing that I wanted to say. That after all that, and then obviously I started to research her personal life, and then she's married to a white guy. I'm not sure, bro. Like, after that, to be like, yo, bro.
So it makes you wonder what conversation happens.
Nobody, not that. But it's made me like, are you those black people, like, now that you are with the white person, there's no racism to you? Because that's how it now seems like. Are you those ones? Because it's like, So, for example, everything white is right to you. I mean, she defended, JC, how do you explain her talking down, for example, Barack Obama? She justified why, for example, we don't need a black president. We didn't need a black president. It's like, how many presidents did we have in America? Like, what, before Obama? 53, and he was the 54th, what's not?
40, no.
Or 44.
44, yeah.
Yeah, 44.
43, something like that.
Yeah, he was like number 43 or 44. Yeah, right? I mean, you've had, like, I don't know how do you justify that.
When do you want to change?
Do you see, that's where my issue is. And after I see that she's married to a white guy and whatnot, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, she's one of those black people, I don't know, man, like, bruh. Yo, bruh. I mean, bruh, this, I'm not like Dr. Uma, like she's not supposed to marry a white person or whatnot. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying though, everything then that she says then about black people, and because everything to her about everything black seems to be negative. So to me, that's why she highlights the most. She only highlights what's maybe like negative about black people, like everything black. Why is it negative? That seems to be her ammo. And then to find out that she's been doing this, and I've been watching all these shows, and then I found out that she's married to a white guy, and then I like, now I'm not sure. It's like, so you're saying this because are you one of those people then, the black people that once you're with a white person that everything black is wrong, or not even a white person, you're with another race, then everything is like all of a sudden I don't see racism type of vibe. She justified, literally she went to justify saying we didn't need a black president in terms of Obama, all the wrong things. We need someone to represent black people's like agendas, for example. It's like, bro, fine, you are correct in saying we don't need a black president necessarily, right? Doesn't mean just because someone is black is gonna represent what you want.
Yeah.
But okay, we have to have some change though. Right? You cannot say you are a democracy and everything is fair, and then the presidency never reflects the people. Because then, if you're gonna have over 40 presidents being the same, predominantly white male, specifically the same, then this means you are not democratic, as you're saying, and
diverse,
and it's not diverse because it's not representation of what the country looks like then. Do you see? And that's an issue then, Yeah, I know what she's saying is true on the other side, but two things are happening at once here, So those type of things. But then that also brings me to that point, because then as soon as she starts to argue that, it's like, okay, black, white, president, what? Black, one president, one in a lifetime. You have one black president, and you say you didn't need him. Yeah, right. Like. You stupid, bro. Yeah, right, bro. Come on, buddy.
My God.
Come on, bro. Is that it, dog? That's what you got to. That's what's your conclusion. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that was Candace Owens, bro. Yeah, that was Candace Owens. I didn't know that I'm going to end up talking for so long about her.
It's okay. I mean, you said you had a lot of things that you needed to let go from your chest.
Yeah, especially around her. Yeah. So do you see? So basically, this is like, I feel like that's a relationship I've heard like with Candace Owens as someone who follows her. It's like you love this person, but you just wish they were not. But then after they find her, she start going to like black media spaces, going to the breakfast shows.
Wait, enough food.
I knew somewhere down the line you find out you were black, bro. I knew down the line, bro. Shit is gonna come to you. Anyway, let's hold it here, buddy. Let's hold this here. We're gonna join the other one. We're gonna talk about Elon Musk.
On a different timeline.
Yeah, sure.
That's stress, man.
Yeah, Elon Musk, next one.